I used to work evenings at a gas station while I was in college. Because I was accustomed to working nights, this didn't faze me too much. The only thing that made me uneasy was that this petrol station was located on the shoulder of a rarely used highway in northern New York. Having said that, my imagination would play games on me when I was alone at work. The way the shifts were scheduled, I was alone for the final 2 hours of my job once the subway employee left. Therefore, I would attempt to pass the time during those 2 hours by cleaning and listening to music. I didn't have many customers, but those that I had a tendency to be a little off. Notable among them was a man who used to come in every night and attempt to purchase a Subway sandwich. He always waited until Subway had closed for the evening and then stood in front of the counter. I approach him and inquire as to what he would like, and he always responds, "I'm hungry. I'd like a sandwich, please." I would inform him that Subway was closed and he would remain completely unresponsive. He'd simply stand there. He'd stand there for perhaps 30 minutes, swinging back and forth. He would then tell me to have a good night and depart. I never saw his automobile once. He'd simply stroll out the back and down the highway. This would not be unusual if it were an uncommon occurrence, but it occurs every night I work. I attempted to inquire with the manager whether anyone else had mentioned this gentleman. However, she had never heard of the gentleman. I requested if I may close with another person, but she stated that we did not have enough employees to cover that. Additionally, there were insufficient consumers to justify the additional person. I attempted to explain to her how nervous this person made me, but she simply advised me to man up and deal with him the next time I saw him. The following day, I was required to close once more, and sure enough, I see the man enter. He proceeds to the Subway counter, where he waits for an employee. When I inquire as to what he desires, he states that he desires a sandwich. I decide that I've had enough of this guy coming in and requesting this and simply give him the sandwich he requests. Because he will not explain what he wants, I will choose something at random from the menu. I inform him that the sandwich will cost $6, but he grabs the bag and flees. As I go away that night, I notice the man waving at me from the tree line. This freaks me out, but I wave back, assuming he's simply homeless and pleased with the meal. I jump inside my car and shut the doors. That was the last time I saw the man in the woods, and for that I am eternally grateful. I discovered this when conducting research on true crime stories a few years later. I discovered that while I was working at the store during its construction, one of the workers had been injured while working alone. The store was scheduled to open the next week, following a long weekend. This was before cell phones became a ubiquitous item in people's possession. The man's legs were broken when he fell from the building's roof. He remained there for the duration of the weekend and died of exposure. When I stated that this was in the middle of nowhere when I worked there, I meant that it was built primarily in the woods. This narrative didn't strike a chord with me until I saw the guy's photo. He resembled the man who had haunted my dreams at the gas station. The saddest aspect is that he wasn't the worst of those who entered.